Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Finally, it has been a long time between videos. I apologize. Also, I'm hoping that the lighting works okay in here at the end of the video. It looks okay in the camera at the moment, but who knows? Unfortunately, Brisbane and I guess a lot of the East Coast at the moment has been rainy and cloudy. Overcast is an understatement, thunderstormy, you name it. So all the washing smells damp, nothing's really drying and frizzy as, but who cares? So I hope you're all well, kicking goals, living your best lives, etc, etc. Let's talk about what's happened over the last few weeks. After I uploaded my last one, I decided to implement like a break over the weekend. And because I work full time, weekends are key for me in making these YouTube videos and editing them. So if I don't have time on the weekend, I can't really do them. So I took a week off because I needed some downtime and a little bit of a break, which was awesome. But then the following weekend, my parents came to visit in Brisbane, which was amazing. We had such a good time. We went to the Sunshine Coast, we went to the Gold Coast, we did some exploring around Brisbane. It was fantastic to have them here. But then that weekend, obviously I'm not filming, I'm not editing, etc. Then the weekend after, I was exhausted, needed a break. Then the weekend after that, I went to Adelaide for the weekend, which was beautiful. Did some wineries, fit in a nice beach walk. But again, not home, not filming, not editing. So then another week goes past, and then the weekend after that, I was exhausted again and I needed a break. But the reasons for being tired were great because, you know, I had big weekends with people I love and I'm really ready to come back. So here we are. Today is Sunday. No, it's not. Today is Saturday, the 27th of November. A long time has passed between videos, and I think the best place to start is from when we left off on the last video. So I was about to embark on a bit of a plant-based journey to see if it made me feel better and cutting out some more processed foods. I mentioned that I had done that a few years ago and it had really made me feel good. So I started off with some grocery shopping. Grocery shopping done. Went to Aldi and Woolies and got things for work snacks like capsicums and cucumber and blueberries, and also things to make my recipes with this week, and some almond milk to make smoothies with, plus some frozen fruit, yogurt, cashews for snacking. Yeah, big shop. And I poured over some vegan recipe books and Googled some as well. I made some lentil soup. I made a lentil red wine curry thing that went over a sweet potato mash. I made some chickpea patties. Yeah, I got a bit creative in the kitchen and did a lot of cooking. The lentil soup was amazing, and I have actually since made another batch since then as well. I'll be honest with you though, everything else was average at best. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm not a very good cook. I also don't enjoy cooking, but I really tried. I tried to pick creative recipes, I put in effort, I tried to have some fun with it. It was not fun, no part of it was fun, and it also didn't taste good, so I was pretty annoyed, but I tried. So then I tried to do some more plant-based meals that weren't necessarily, you know, 30 ingredient recipes. And I tried to pick some plant-based meals when I was ordering lunch as well, when I'm at work during the week. So I tried that for a little while, and honestly, I didn't feel any better at all. In fact, well, I don't want to say I felt worse, but I definitely didn't feel better. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed and a little bit surprised because last time I had done this, I felt incredible. And it was only for a week, but I felt really good even after a week. So I was kind of expecting different results, but that is part of what this channel is all about, and also my journey overall. It's trying things and seeing what works for me, what fits into my lifestyle. Sometimes 100 people can swear by a certain thing, but if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. So I think it's really important to be open with you guys and share that, and plant-based may work for you, it could be the best thing you've ever done. I know a friend of mine is implementing a lot more plant-based meals and I guess a more overall healthier, more nutrient approach to her diet, and she's noticing some amazing benefits. So for her, that's fantastic. It's working well. She should stick to it if she wants to. If it's something that you can implement into your lifestyle going forward and it's sustainable, then that's fantastic. In this case, the plant-based approach was not working for me, and I don't mean that in a purely a weight loss way either. But what I was expecting was to feel a lot better, to feel less bloated, to feel like I had more energy, and the exact opposite happened. I didn't feel good at all. So that's probably not a good option for me going forward. That's okay. We are here for some trial and error, my friends, trial and error. So, moving on. A few weeks ago, Steve and I were watching a documentary. I think it was on, no, not Netflix. It was actually on YouTube. I didn't realize YouTube have documentaries. And maybe movies as well. I'm not sure. That could be a huge lie, but they definitely have documentaries. So we just stumbled across a documentary about fat and carbohydrates, and it was fascinating. I'll include the link in the description of this video in case you're interested. It just made me really rethink what is good for the human body. So I'm sure you're all aware that at the moment, it just feels like no one has a clear, definite answer on what is actually good for you and what is healthy for you. And you can speak to the most qualified doctor or qualified nutritionist, and you can read 100 different case studies, and it'll tell you that a certain way of eating is really, really good for you and it's the only way to go forward. And for example, maybe that's keto. But on the other end of the spectrum, there's so much evidence and so many experts and so many case studies and papers done that plant-based is actually really good for you. So it's really hard to know what the right thing is to do and the right foods to eat. And just when you think you know what's healthy, you get told that actually no, you're wrong. In fact, you couldn't be more wrong. What you're eating is actually really bad for you. And it can become really overwhelming because despite your best efforts to research, to ask around, to speak to professionals, you still don't really know what the answer is. So I have come to a conclusion with all my knowledge and expertise that the best way to eat is what works for you. And what I mean by eating in a way that suits you, I mean that in a number of different ways. So obviously from more of a logistical perspective, it needs to suit your budget. Also from a logistical perspective, perhaps you're a parent and you have children, because that's what a parent is. That makes it a little bit more complicated because it might not just be about you and what you want as an individual. But I also mean what makes you tick. What gives you energy throughout the day? What improves your mental health? That connection between gut and mind is really, really strong, and there's so much information out there at the moment about that. So if you're not familiar with that topic, I would highly recommend researching it, because the effect of food and the effect that your gut has on your mental health it's mind-blowing. So what suits your lifestyle, what suits your budget, what suits your family, all those factors come into it as well. But I would argue more importantly, what makes you feel good. So I guess to provide some context, I'm going to talk about my experience since watching that documentary. It just made me think more. It made me, I guess, more critical of the information I've been given so far. And I thought, I've got nothing to lose by trying to eat in a way that this documentary had suggested. I've tried plant-based, I've tried smaller portion sizes, I've tried eating less regularly throughout the day, I've tried intermittent fasting, I've tried eating more regularly throughout the day. Yeah, I feel like I've tried a lot of different things, and this is not just from a weight loss perspective, although I have tried many a thing for weight loss over the years, but also from a overall health journey perspective. What's going to make me feel good, what's going to fuel me, what's going to make me physically and mentally healthier. And I hadn't really tried this lower carb, high fat approach before. In my mind, it was a weird kind of crash diet that was from the 90s and was just hanging on for dear life and coming with us through 2021. But this journey is about trying different things and stepping out of my comfort zone. And the evidence that was presented in that documentary was pretty solid. And I figure, try it for a week or two. I've got nothing to lose. And I gave it a whirl. My meals became quite simple. So a piece of protein like steak or chicken, and then some vegetables. Red meat typically doesn't sit well with me, but just a plain steak is usually fine, and I quite enjoy that. So chicken is the bulk of it for me, and fish, but then I do have some steak as well. And then lots of different sides with that protein. Super simple, really easy to make. Not particularly exciting, I guess, for some people, but eating in that simple way, cooking in that simple way really suits me, both from a time perspective and an ability perspective. It's much harder to stuff up those types of meals. I did a big grocery shop as well, so that I wouldn't have to try and go to the shops every few nights and pick something in a rush when I was already really hungry. Heaps of different veggies, heaps of different fruits. I got some Greek yogurt, I got some nuts, and I got some protein. And I thought, right, let's just give this a go. And I felt so good, so good. I was really surprised, to be honest. I said I was going in with an open mind, but I probably wasn't really going in with an open mind. I was a bit skeptical about it, but truth be told, I'm gonna be totally transparent with you guys here. I felt incredible. I had way more energy than normal. I had no bloating. It just disappeared. And I haven't not been bloated for a few days in a row since, I don't know, maybe high school? So for me to go for a few days in a row and feel no bloating at all was amazing. When I did get bloated, it's because the weekend came around, so I included some more processed carbs in my diet. I was still eating carbohydrates. I was eating heaps of vegetables and heaps of fruit, which for me works. I know, for example, some people can't eat that much fruit because it doesn't sit well with them. So this is very specific to me in terms of what I actually ate day to day, but overall it was cutting out processed carbohydrates and processed sugar. And I have kept it up pretty well over the last few weeks. It was a bit difficult when I had my parents visit and when I went to visit my family in Adelaide for the weekend. And we've also had some weekends here that have been quite alcohol and delicious food heavy. After eating quite well during the week and being so full of energy, I also noticed a huge difference in my mental health. Like the anxiety just kind of, I don't know, it didn't disappear, but it was definitely kept at bay. It didn't feel as strong. I feel like I've lost focus on the camera, but hopefully it works. So there I was, a few days in, feeling better already. Quite surprised about that, but enjoying it all the same. And when the weekend rolled around, I was like, great, I can be a bit more relaxed and eat what I want. And I felt really awful after doing that. I felt anxious, I felt bloated, I felt lethargic, I felt irritable. Admittedly, I didn't just indulge in a few little bits and pieces. I went rampant. I just got a bit too excited that my parents were visiting, and I ate my excitement big time. And then when I go back to Adelaide, I always seem to lose control and go into my childhood self. Yeah, I went to town and made myself quite sick in terms of how much I ate and what I ate. So not great, but also not the end of the world. So I feel like I'm ranting and raving, but to summarize, I ate high-ish fat, low processed carbohydrate, low to no processed sugar for quite a few weeks at a time. And I felt amazing during the week, and then I felt a bit gross on weekends because I overindulged. But overall, if I can get a little bit better with my eating on weekends, which is slow progress, but it is progress nonetheless, it is getting better. I think I found a way of fueling my body that suits as many aspects as possible in my life. It suits my budget, it suits my time, it suits my ability to cook, and it makes me feel physically better, it makes me feel mentally better. It's a relief. It is honestly a relief, and it's just so weird because then I get caught up thinking about you know, what elements had to align that day for us to happen to watch that documentary at that time, because we easily could just have never seen it and I probably wouldn't have changed my approach. So I'm very grateful that we happened to watch that documentary. I don't know, I feel like it's a huge leap forward. The progress on this health journey has been good and it's been relatively steady, but this just feels like a whole new way of leveling up, and that I've found something that actually works for me, and it just makes everything seem so much easier, like it should be. It doesn't feel like a weird Atkins crash diet from the 90s. It feels like I'm eating in a way that my body is finally saying, thank you for. Thanks for not feeding me a kilo of sugar and caffeine and expecting me to run as per normal. I'm not saying that everyone needs to go out there now and cut out your breads and your cereals and stuff. It worked for me. It won't necessarily work for you. There could be a million other ways of eating. The moral of the story for you guys is that there will be a way that you can fuel your body and nourish yourself that actually really works for you. It doesn't mean that you have to do it every single day perfectly, but as a general rule, that's how you eat. It's how you grocery shop. It's how you order food when you go out, and it works for you. And it's not boring, and it's something that you can implement for potentially the rest of your life. Obviously, tastes change, circumstances change, budgets change. If you're a parent and you're cooking for children, you might not be able to eat exactly what you want all the time, and factor all that in, absolutely. It's never going to be a perfect fix, but it's great to have a baseline. It's not like a diet that you're pushing yourself through to desperately lose weight. When you find a way of eating that works for you, it should feel like less of an effort, and it should impact you physically and give you more energy, and it should make you feel better mentally. So I guess when you go on like a crash diet or something, the only motivation, I'm not saying this is a good idea, by the way, I'm totally against that, but if you did, and what I have done in the past is gone on these crash diets and the only motivation is weight loss. I haven't cared about overall health. I haven't cared about energy. I haven't cared about mental health. I haven't cared about sleeping well and irritability. I haven't cared about any of that. I've just wanted to be in a smaller body. And as a result, I've done things that are not great. And if you're not losing weight, there is nothing else driving you to continue to eat that way, which is probably a good thing in hindsight, because it's often not a great way to eat for the rest of your life if it is a crash diet, or a fad diet, if you will. When you find a way that works for you, and for example, if you're trying to lose weight as well, you start losing weight, and that's a great motivation. But even if you weren't losing weight as quickly as you like, or if you plateaued in your weight loss, or if weight loss is not something that's on your cards at all, that way of eating should make you feel so good in every other aspect that that's the motivation to keep it up. It makes you feel good, makes you feel like a better person, makes you feel like a more you version of you. And having so many reasons to eat in that certain way is how it becomes sustainable. I guess it's quite similar to exercise in that, yes, exercise can be great for weight loss, but there are so many other reasons to do it that even if weight loss is not something that you're interested in, or if it's not the way that you would like to go about losing weight, then you can exercise for a number of different reasons, and that's how you make it part of your life going forward. So again, I feel like I've gone on a giant rant, but I'm really happy, really grateful. I found a way of eating that works for me. I'm still doing my walking because that's working for me exercise-wise at the moment. I haven't been going as regularly, and the last week and a half, in fact I want to say almost 2 weeks, it's been raining every single day. I definitely could have fit in a few this week and I haven't, but the rain is not helping. So I'm not too fussed about that, because I'm also quite proud of myself. I have upped my walk time for when I do walk from half an hour to an hour. Cut off again. So when I'm doing my walks at the moment, I'm actually walking for 4 hours a week instead of 2 hours a week. So that's pretty good. I've definitely noticed my fitness improve with those walks as well. And it always puts me in such a good mood. I come home and I just feel good, as a lot of you probably would after you exercise as well. Walking is something that I want to keep in my life forever. I really enjoy it. However, I hope to reach a new level of fitness in the future where walking is not my bread and butter exercise. Walking can be something I do, for example, on the weekends, walking around like nice new areas or going for hikes, that kind of thing, or going for a walk after work or in the morning just to kind of loosen up and enjoy it, as opposed to my key form of exercise. I'd like to go back to a gym eventually. I'd like to start running eventually. So walking will always be there, but it won't always be a main form of exercise. But at the moment it suits me. It suits my body, it suits my time, suits my budget. It's working for me right now. So that's what I'm gonna keep doing. So moving forward, next week, I am really gonna try and get those 4-hour walks in, even if it is raining a lot of the time. I will work hand in hand with Queensland weather to ensure my fitness stays on track. I'm also gonna do a grocery shop tomorrow and buy heaps of different veggies and different proteins, probably a little bit of steak, more so chicken, and some salmon as well. That's what I've been eating for dinner. And then for snacks at work, I'm taking the usual, the fruit cut up, the cucumber, the tomato. Capsicums are too expensive at the moment, so just tomato and cucumber, and some feta cheese as well. That makes it a lot more exciting. I love having the snacks there in the morning. It really keeps my energy going, but it's also such a good way to fit in another serve or two of vegetables. So I'm gonna keep that up. And then for lunch, I'm still eating largely the same salads that I've been eating for a while, the chicken and the veggies, but I've started swapping out the brown rice for more coleslaw, and I feel even better. It was a pretty good meal beforehand, but now I feel even better, so that's good. I have gone back to a few other options that I used to eat a few months ago while I was at work for lunch, and they made me feel really unwell. I had an energy crash in the afternoon. I felt bloated and lethargic, and my mind just wasn't firing like it should. So it's amazing what you, I guess, accept as normal. And even before that, even years ago, eating foods that just had such little nutritional value, and I was just steaming through life thinking that this is as good as it gets. And it's amazing to think you can just get used to that, and then you start eating in a different way, or you start exercising, or you start doing something in your life that's a bit of a habit change, and you can't believe the difference, because it starts to make you think, what else can you do? What other habits can you change? What other things can you implement to make your life even better? How can you make yourself a happier, healthier human? And are the steps you need to take to get there actually as big and daunting as you think? I mean, sometimes yes, absolutely, terrifying, but also sometimes no. So I will end the video here, and I'm gonna go into next week even more motivated, excited to see how good I can feel. I think in the next few weeks, I'm gonna notice a huge difference, and I'm very excited to share that with you guys. I might do a weigh-in soon too, just to see how we're tracking. As always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, etc. Feel free to comment on the video, provide feedback, and let me know if there's any topics that you want me to cover in particular. So everyone, have a lovely rest of the week, and I'll be seeing you this time next week.